Hey guys, so tonight we're going to be talking about multisites in WordPress, how you can go about creating them, why they're useful, and exactly how you manage your multisite network. So first of all, what is a multisite? A multisite is just multiple sites being hosted either within the same WordPress installation or on separate installations. This occurs when you're doing it on the hosting provider side. So if you're doing it in your hosting, so for instance, I'm here in SiteGround, and I can create different subdomains or paths here, and that will be my multi-site. But each of them, each new path I create or subdomain will have its own installation of WordPress. Also create multiple sites here, and each of those sites will share the same WordPress installation, and they can share the same themes and plugins, etc. Once you set up a multi-site, you will have to choose between two options: subdomains and directories or paths. To easily explain this, subdomains are for like content that is not totally in line with your main content, your main URL. So you want to put them on their own URL structure and handle it there. While subdirectories are like categories. So it's just categorizing the content on your main site. Here we are on harvard.edu. This is Harvard's main site. Now if I go to menu and I go to news, and let's select one of these here, you'll see that it's showing now news.harvard.edu. So this is a subdomain. Now, if I go to menu and I go to campus, and let's do Harvard's campus. Now we have harvard.edu/campus. This is a subdirectory or a path. So it's a categorization of something that is within harvard.edu. While the other one, news.harvard.edu, is a subdirectory which contains a whole other set of information that is not really related to Harvard itself, but can house a whole different set of things. If you're setting up your multi-site on your hosting provider side, then you need to know how to create your subdomain, and you need to know how to create subdirectories. I'm in SiteGround, so I'm going to show you how to do it here. So if I want to create a subdirectory for this site, imaginethiswebsite.com, I just need to go here to select install new WordPress, and then I can come here and choose subfolder. And I can call this, like the example says, blog. So now I'd have imaginethiswebsite.com/blog, and I can give it a password and then install it, and it will show up here. If I want to create a subdomain, I'd have to go over to domains, subdomains, and I can create it here just by giving it a name. So I can also call this blog. So it would be blog.imaginethiswebsite.com, and I can just hit create here and then install WordPress on it. If I'm setting up the multi-site on WordPress though, it requires some different steps. And so let me walk you through what those are right now. The first thing you need to do is you need to go over to developer.wordpress.org. It is on this site that you will get all the information that you need about multi-sites and network, and you can read and learn so much more about this. Most importantly, they give you the piece of code that you need to place within your wp-config.php file. And this is the piece of code that will activate your multi-site. But how do you get to your wp-config.php file? That file is located within the files of your WordPress installation. So back in SiteGround, if I go to File Manager and I go to Public HTML, you will see my wp-config. Where are you? Right here. Now you can access this file straight from here, from your File Manager. So if I double click this, I can be inside the file and I can scroll down, do whatever I want, and hit save. But we don't really usually do this. We don't access the files directly in here because this is live and you want to try to work in something that is not live and then push it into the live environment. So we're going to FTP into our WordPress file manager. What that means is that we're going to use something like FileZilla here, or what I like to use mostly, Visual Studio Code. Now I'm going to show you how you can use Visual Studio Code to make changes to your WordPress file. In Visual Studio Code, the first thing that you need to do is to go ahead and install a plugin. The plugin that we'll be installing is called FTP Simple. Just search for it within your extensions and then install it. Once you have it installed, you need to go to your search bar, go to Show and Run commands, and you're going to type in FTP Simple, and then go right down to FTP connection setting. Right here is where you're going to want to enter your information for your FTP connection. And that information is found within your FTP account that you set up. So here back in SiteGround, if I go to FTP credentials, you'll see all my credentials here. Then I can go ahead and enter them within this screen. Once you've done that, go back to your search bar, Show and Run commands. Then you can type in FTP Simple. And what you want to do from here is to select Remote Directory Open to Workspace. Select the website name. Then hit Enter. And now you'll see it start to add it to the directory. Now you need to wait a moment for this to finish loading. How do you know when it's done loading? You have to go to Terminal, New Terminal, go to Output, and over to your right, you want to set this to FTP Simple. And you can see all the files loading up down here. Now we have successfully connected to our FTP. So if we go to public HTML, you will now be able to see your WP config file, and you'll also be able to see your .ht access files, both of which you'll need for the next steps. Now, if you're at all uncomfortable with these, with making changes to these, you can just make a copy of this file and then make a change so that if anything goes wrong, you can delete and then just use the copy. But anyway, let's go all the way back now to our WordPress. Right here to the developers wordpress.org. So we're going to copy this bit of code here and we're going to paste it into our WP config file, and it should be pasted right above the line that says that's all, stop editing, happy publishing. So here we are back in Visual Studio. This is our WP config file, and if you scroll down, you'll see that line. That's all, stop editing, happy publishing. So we're going to paste that line of code right above that line. Then hit save, go to file, save all, or save. Now go back to your WordPress installation. So this is the WordPress dashboard that we're in. Then refresh. Once you've done that, you can now go down to Tools and you will see Network Setup. Now, once you click Network Setup, you're going to see warning, please deactivate your plugins before enabling the network feature. They also told you about this when you are going to do the installation. So right here, they also told you to make sure you deactivate all plugins. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to Plugins, select all, go to Update, not Update, go to Deactivate, hit Apply. So now all our plugins have been deactivated. Now go back down to Tools, go to Network Setup, and right here you can choose your subdomain or subdirectories, whichever one you want to use. They tell you that you must choose whichever one you want to use, but you cannot change this later. You can change this later, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So for now, let's just choose subdomains and then click install. Once you click install, you'll be taken to this screen here. We have two more steps to take. So this bit of code here needs to be pasted in the WP config file, and this one down here needs to be placed into the HT access file. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's copy this, go back to VS Code, into the WP config file, and right below this line here, we're going to paste the code. Save, go back to WordPress, copy the second bit of code, and now we need to paste this into the HT access file, replacing all the other rules. So this is our HT access file here, and then everything between these two if modules we're going to replace. So just highlight them and replace them. Let's save that as well. Now when you go back to WordPress, you have to refresh the page and it will ask you to log in once again. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And now if I go to dashboard, you will see all new settings here. So now I can create a new site, create new users, etc. So if I select create a new site, you will see right here. So it's asking me to actually create a subdomain. So I can call this blog, say this is a blog. This is a blog site, and the email address is the same. So now when I go up here to my sites, you see my original WordPress site, and then here's the new site that I just created, and I can go to the dashboard here. Right, so now I'm at blog.imaginethiswebsite.com. I can also go back to my normal site just like this. So it's very easy to switch between the two sites. Now I'm going to show you how you can actually get to create a path instead of a subdomain. So if you go back to Visual Studio and then go down to your WP config file, and if you change this line here, subdomain install from true to false, and save, when you go back to your WordPress and you refresh, you will now see that it's changed to a subdirectory or a path, and you can go ahead and create that. So let's say this is plumber for whatever reason. Now when I go to all sites, you can see this one here is a subdomain, but this one down here is a subdirectory. And that is it. That's how you create a multi-site inside of WordPress using subdomains and subdirectories. Do leave comments below with any questions that you may have, and I do hope that this helps. So let's go ahead and start actually building out some websites in our next video. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the channel and have yourselves a good day.